Hey fantasy football fans, it's me, the Fantasy Football Girl, coming to you with another edition of Vlog Times. I want to thank all of you who tuned into the Fantasy Football Guys podcast last night. If you haven't had a chance to listen to it yet, please do so. There's a link just below. These guys have some crazy deep knowledge. We do a great little segment called Start, Sit, and Extra together, and I really encourage you to listen before you set your lineup on Sunday for sure. That being said, I've been getting a ton of emails and tweets asking about lineup starts and sits. So I decided to start incorporating this into my vlog a little bit. If you would like your question featured on my blog, which I plan to post either Friday or Saturday depending on my schedule, please feel free to either email me at thefantasyfootballgirl@gmail.com or tweet me at theFFgirl on Twitter. My first question is from Matt in Minnesota, and he wants to know if he should start Mike Tolbert, the backup to Ryan Matthews in San Diego, over Ronnie Brown of the Miami Dolphins. My answer is simply yes. I don't think Matthews is going to get the start. He's out with a high ankle sprain. Those usually take more than a few days, but rather a few weeks to heal. San Diego is taking on the Seattle Seahawks, whose defense does not look awesome. Brown, on the other hand, Brown and the Dolphins are taking on the Jets defense. That's a much tougher matchup. So while Tolbert is untested, I like it. I actually picked him up on a waiver wire, and I'm starting him as a flex in one of my leagues, so I say yes, roll the dice on him. Question number 2 is from Big Rick in Wisconsin. He's a big Packers fan, and I've been getting an earful on Twitter about Monday night's matchup between my Bears and his Packers. He wants to know, as a Bears fan and a fantasy analyst, if I recommend starting Forte against his Packers. The answer is yes. I'm not actually worried about Forte. It's not the most ideal matchup, but I do think he'll score. I'm more worried about the Bears' passing game. Clay Matthews is a beast. He is a giant beast. He's a sack monster. I'm more worried about Cutler, frankly, than Forte, so if that's your issue, definitely play Forte. Go for it. Why not? And I hope your heart sinks a little bit every time he scores on you. Next question is from Cliff. He wants to know if he should start Terrell Owens over Malcolm Floyd. Good question. I like this question, and I actually think T.O. is due. I would go ahead and, yeah, give him the start. The Bengals are taking on Carolina, whose secondary gave up a ton of balls to Hakeem Nicks in week 1. They don't look that great. Malcolm Floyd and the Chargers, as I already explained, are taking on the Seattle Seahawks. That matchup's a little bit better, but I just think San Diego's going to be running the ball a whole lot. I don't think it's going to be, you know, like a shootout or anything. So, yeah, I think T.O.'s due, and I'd go for it. Roll it. Yep. Rusty in Flint, Michigan wants to know if he should start Favre or Breeze. Really? Well, I can't blame you for looking at the matchup. The Vikes are taking on the Lions, so obviously you have to believe that Favre and his offense are going to get it together at some point, and against the Lions is certainly a good opportunity for that, but I just don't think you can ever sit Drew Brees. So, no, you shouldn't start Favre. You should definitely start Brees. Last question is from Shant in LA. I don't think that's his real name, but that's what he wrote down. He needs a third wide receiver. He wants to know if he should start Percy Harvin, Louis Murphy, or Mike Williams in Tampa Bay. He's already starting Randy Moss. Well, Mike Williams, as much as I love the kid, and you know, if you've been following my blog for a while, I've been blogging about this kid since May. I like him. I have him on 2 of my fantasy teams. I think he's got a ton of potential. I actually started him over Hakeem Nicks last week. However, this week, the Bucs are taking on the Steelers, and that means taking on the Steelers defense, and that's a matchup I am never going to play. So no on Mike Williams. It's between Percy Harvin and Louis Murphy. I feel for Harvin. He's got a sore hip and those migraines. They are playing the Lions, but I'm just skeptical. You know, you've already got Randy Moss. It's a great opportunity to take a gamble. I know I'm probably going to get some heat for this, but I say start Louis Murphy. There's a change in quarterback. It's worth a shot. You know, you've got the cushion and insurance of Moss, who I think is going to have a monster week against Buffalo. So Louis Murphy, that's my third wide receiver for you. So instead of answering another question from you guys, I'm actually going to ask my viewers a question because I feel like so many fantasy analysts refuse to admit that they have trouble starting their lineup, but I certainly do every week, and I've found that my listeners are incredibly knowledgeable, have amazing insight, so I thought I'd ask you a question once a week and let me know what you think. Feel free to comment, tweet, email, whatever you like. I'm having a running back issue. Here are my 3. I can only start 2. It's a 3 wide receiver league, so I don't have a flex option. I've got Ray Rice, and the Ravens are taking on the Cleveland Browns. I've got Pierre Thomas in New Orleans, and I've got Tim Hightower of the Cardinals. So I've benched Hightower the past 2 weeks, which has broken my heart a little bit, but I've done it in favor of Ray Rice, who I thought would catch fire by now. I was a little uneasy about the first week against the Jets, but still, this week they're taking on the Browns, Ray Rice and the Ravens are. So I feel like if any week he's going to show up, it's going to be this week. Pierre Thomas, I like, especially now that Reggie Bush is out, but you never know, maybe that'll mean Lance Moore will actually get more looks. You can never tell with the New Orleans offense just because there's so many awesome weapons. Hightower has been putting up really good numbers. My gut says I should go Rice and Thomas, but I wanted to know what you guys thought. Help a lady out. Let me know what you're thinking. Please do so before Sunday. Otherwise, TGIF guys, have a great weekend. I look forward to seeing you again on Monday with another Bus Bombs and Bonuses. See you later.